That was the first time I got AIDS. What?
All right, we are live.
Hello, I am Autodassing, and you are listening to the Punk Rock Libertarians Podcast, episode 323. Tonight I'm joined by Jared Schneiderman.
Hey, guys.
James Babb.
Hello.
And newcomer Scott Spalding.
What's up?
What's going on, guys?
All right.
What's going on? Anyone have shit, dude, I just muted my mic. I don't know what the hell I just did.
No, we can hear you, dude, unfortunately.
Okay, cool. All right, cool.
I love the way you bring a level of professionalism that Matt would be proud of.
I know. I do my best.
Just mute your mic during the intro.
Yeah, I was just like,
this is
minimize
a
the screen.
tribute to Matt Bergman, who we miss, and we're
Where's he again, Beb?
Last I knew, he was he was deep in the rainforest, finding new ceremonial drugs to try. So
Good.
I don't know.
Good. That's a noble activity.
Yeah, but we wish him the best and a safe return.
Yeah. All right.
Definitely.
All right, Otto, what do we got?
So we had a debate this week. This is the last one ever. There was actually a CNN headline that messed up, and on it said "the last debate ever." I was like, that would be awesome. Yeah,
just forever. Just no more of this shit.
We wish it were true, dear God.
Yeah. Although, how would we get any entertainment out of this fiasco?
Right. I know.
It was Jordan to have to talk about now.
That resulted from this debate, right? Like,
yeah, we solved everything. No more reason to debate. Oh man,
who watched the debate? Did you guys watch the debate?
Well, Jared and I we did a podcast, like some special podcast that you guys can check out if you want. It was us pretty much ragging on this 1980s anti-drug cartoon. And so I was able to catch the last like 30-45 minutes of it afterwards. It was a lot more civil, lot less interrupting, but God, it's the same old bullshit, really. Like Trump missed out on
I would hate to see it be more
Biden
civil. That sounds terrible.
But no, it wasn't even like it was civil. It was just everyone just has their talking points, and they go about it, and there's no like debating the merits of the points. Really, it's just like, well, no, this is what that is, and this is this. And I don't know. It's like you hear stuff like when you hear the word debate, I'm thinking like Soho Forum debate style. Oxford style debate, where it's just like everyone has their points and time, and this time it's just like they're all bullshitting, it's all just like it's just bullshit. I don't know if I'm numb to the whole political thing, now it's just like I know you're all full of shit.
Wouldn't you love to just hand them both weapons and be like, dudes, just go at it?
Yeah, just throw a knife in there,
a flail,
just a gun, or just a gun that explodes in their hand.
Yeah,
well, what? How about a sock full of nickels? I mean,
when it comes to debates, there's a strong case for accelerationism. Just tear it, like let them show it off in public how bad they really are.
Right? Yeah.
Somebody should tell Trump, like, hey, I heard Biden is afraid to duel. He said he won't duel you. He's a coward. You should challenge him to a duel, and he'll back down. That'll be fun.
Should have tried the push-up contest. That's Biden's thing, isn't it?
That might kill both of them. Oh man. Yeah, what was that one quote, Phil? The one when he was talking about how he couldn't like see anybody in the crowd because they were so dark or something like that.
Oh yeah. Oh God, that was funny. He was like he had two of those moments.
Well, he was like, I'm the least racist person in the building. And then almost immediately after he's like, I can't even see the crowd because it's so dark.
Right. He was like, I can't tell. He's like, I can't see who's out there. So there might be someone who's less racist than me, but right now I can't see. Everything's too dark. And it was like, what are you doing, dude?
At least he didn't say like, could you all just smile so I can see you? Like that's the kind of shit he would say. Like,
and just not even realize it. Oh my God, dude.
Yeah, and then he had another
bastard.
Oh, I know. He had another cringe moment. He was like, he was talking about the what is it? It was the people at the border.
The Coyotes.
That program? No, it was the pickup. The program where like they pick up and they release, like catch and release, I think is what they kept calling it. And He was like, it's the dumbest thing ever. And they were like, and then so Biden's going back and forth saying, no, those people would come back. He said, and he goes, I hate to say this. And you could tell he was like, oh my God, what is he going to say? And Charlie goes, I hate to say it, but those people have low IQs who come back for their trial. And I was just like,
What?
oh, yeah, that's what he said.
Who said
and no one's
that?
talked about. Yes, he said they have low IQ.
Which one said that?
Trump.
Trump
said the people who come back for their trial for their whatever for citizenship, and he said they showed up. He was like, they had low IQs. He was like, I hate to say it. And I'm like, oh, boy.
Was he implying it's smarter to just bypass their whole bullshit system and just be quote unquote illegal and give them the finger? Is that what he's saying?
That's what he was saying. Yeah.
He's
not really wrong, is he?
No,
that's why I'm thinking. Like, I think it depends on how you interpret it. I mean,
yeah,
it's kind of insulting to the people that end up trying to do it the right way. You know, like we all know great people that have done it the right way, et cetera. I don't fault them for doing the necessary paperwork and all the crap and jumping through the hoops. And I mean, it's horrible. I don't wish that on anybody, but I have a lot of respect for those people that are just like, nah, I don't actually want to do that stuff and are able to do, to just bypass it.
Yeah. Sometimes I swear, like, I think they might be like the best agorists out there. The people that like walk a few thousand miles across borders, no papers, nothing, just, make a life out of, make money in cash.
But imagine the challenges of, especially when you're trying to send remittances, maybe to family members, it's difficult to, to exist without paperwork, and always the threat of, when is that ICE agent going to storm, the chicken coop that you're working in? I mean, it's terrible. The way they would be, they're often treated. So,
yeah. Which
is funny because it also came up when he said the coyote. Like he was like, these people come over, like their parents aren't bringing them over. He's like, coyotes are. And I think he's partially right. There's a lot of kids, because they said how the missing kids are like, oh, we can't find their parents. Well, I'm pretty sure a good portion of those so-called parents were just coyotes who just left. And they left the kids there after they got caught, I think there's a case to be made for both.
Well, how about his as an alternative? Why don't we just allow Greyhound to accept passengers coming to and fro instead of coyotes? You buy a ticket for your kid. When you're sending your kid to your aunt's house, you put them on the bus, you send them, and the aunt picks them up, and it's all above board, and nobody needs a coyote, right? Do you think the kids would get lost now? I don't think so.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's just a prohibition. That's all it is. Coyotes are just bootleggers for human. Like and it doesn't attract the best people. It's a prohibition, and it has all the same stupid results, making it hard to just go somewhere and get a job and a place to live. It's ridiculous.
Right. So it's part service because, we need our black market, like drug dealers and et cetera, but it's also, it's attracting criminals. Okay. Well, you criminalize something that people need to do. So yeah, there's going to be more criminals involved.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because it led to a moment where all these blue check marks, someone made a screenshot it. They searched up the word coyote, and this one girl, I don't know where I think she's some type of like lawyer or something. And she posted, coyote, is Trump suggesting that the animal, a coyote, would bring kids across the border?
It was a Georgia state delegate. That's
what it was. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. A woman she probably is a lawyer too, because half the politicians are lawyers. But yeah, she's a Georgia state delegate. Yeah, and then there were dozens more. Like, yes. I caught one. Like screenshots of dozens of like blue check people being like, "Really? Did he say coyotes? Like, how friggin' stupid are you?"
So there's been so many memes of people making
a wonderful backlash in memes, and I'd like to thank
there were some good ones.
I cracked up doing that. That's great.
Like the Wile E. Coyote, he's got, instead of like the big TNT rocket, he's got like a child on his back. It's like sneaking across the border.
There's one of a kid riding a coyote, like in a sombrero.
Like the one's like, you're telling me shrimp fried that rice?
Oh my God, that's hilarious. Right. Yeah, it's stuff like that, and it's just embarrassing. And I just like, wow, these are the verified people on Twitter. Like, Jesus Christ. They're the elites.
Yeah.
I think it's just great that we can get some fun out of all this national tragedy called the electoral process. I mean,
well, for now, we can get it for now. We got to wait because, man, they're cracking down. Social media is cracking down on everything. So
I heard
today,
Derek Brose's channel got taken down on YouTube, deleted.
With the conscious resistance?
Yeah, did you hear that?
Oh, damn. No, I didn't.
Damn, I didn't hear that at all.
Yeah, like it was a big channel, and
Yeah.
I don't think like remember it was like, oh, you're demonetized. I think it's like like
Damn.
you're now like scrubbed.
What was the offending video?
I'm not sure. I just kind of saw the headline. I didn't get a chance to get any details. I was hoping you guys knew. But,
No, I didn't know. I didn't know.
They just keep doing this crap over and over and over again to more and more people.
Yeah.
Well, every time I wake up, there's like 3 to 4 new messages from Facebook saying we remove content from your group.
Oh
Like
yeah, we keep getting fact checked like every day. I get like
It's
5
bad.
notifications. It's like
Mm-hmm.
we fact checked this and found it was false.
And it's just
Biden is awesome.
You know, yeah, but it's like I like
Yeah,
the way
it's
they
bad.
do these, like, you know, lacks context, right? They're not actually saying it's false, but they're still like, you still should know that we still don't want you to come to the conclusion you're coming to. So we're going to still put a little thing in it. Like, they're so into controlling. I saw ads on Amazon Video from Facebook promoting voting.
Yeah.
They gave you a Facebook address to go for voting resources to figure out how to vote and whatever.
Mhm.
But Amazon Video is showing an ad to go to Facebook to learn how to vote. And like, what the hell is going on here? I mean,
Yeah, aren't they competitors?
clearly the technocracy like has decided you're voting. Like,
You're gonna vote, motherfucker.
like
Right.
wow.
Right.
know.
Each
Whether you want
election
to or
it gets
not.
right. Yeah, it gets worse and worse. Each election, they're pushing it so hard. Now all these people come out. They just want you to vote. Register to vote. Go vote. Go vote. And it's like, okay, so should I register to be a Republican and vote Republican? Like, no. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's not. That's what they mean. They're like, no.
How would you guys rate the this just pro voting? I mean, there's always a pro voting message that's out there, but how would you rank it to previous electoral cycles with just messages in your face constantly about voting and like how
Dude,
great
it's
you
like
are, trying to
it's like
shame you for
1,000
not?
times.
You say 1,000. What do you think, Scott?
It's up. There was a thing about like the search engine manipulation effect and how they're trying to do that too. I wouldn't be surprised if they did something like drop it off to anyone they identify as red. They just don't put the reminder on the day of. So you're getting slammed day after day after day. And then they like cut it off right before, make people forget.
What do you think,
Like-
Otto, as far as like percentage, like is it
Oh,
more or
this
less?
This is worse. I have never seen something. Well, actually, I take some of that back. The reason why I haven't seen as many ads as everyone else keeps seeing is because I pay for YouTube Premium, so I don't have to see any of these political ads because I'm so.
But it's not even,
fucking
dude.
sick of
It's
it.
like log into any social media, log into your Instagram, log into
Exactly.
your Facebook,
oh well,
log
if
into your
anyone
YouTube.
anyone who is interested in getting rid of that, it's gone down like 99% since I saw a meme that was being shared around that shows you how to stop that on your Facebook profile. Constantly reminding you to vote and about voting and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah,
Even
it's called just
after-
not
even
using
after
Facebook.
all of that,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
still
right.
bombarded in my daily life with these like celebrity endorsement for voting, and
The celebrity stuff has been out of control.
well, what I think it is, it's like, why is Facebook like so intent on jamming this voting thing down people's throat? I mean, they're not just like running a couple little public service ads here and there. It is a full court press to get people to vote. I think it's because they've got the demographics dialed in, right? Because that's their business, right? They can't run like they're already pushing resources into, say, pro Biden or whatever, but they still need to put more resources to change, to get the political outcome. So they just dial in and say, you know what? Oh, you're watching the new Star Trek series. We've calculated that you're 64% Biden friendly, for instance. That's hypothetical.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
So target that show with ads like crazy.
Well, you know what?
The generic, go vote. See, this is just our public service announcement. They're probably getting a tax write-off. And meanwhile, it's obviously could be tailored to steer things. And what if everybody's doing that? Conservatives are doing that. Everybody's doing that. Everybody is like, my phone is lit up with all this spam messages from
the
from
phone.
You know, it's like everybody's trying to manipulate and control this way.
Well, I bet it's worse for anyone, let's say, that's in Pennsylvania or Florida, because I think I might actually still be registered to vote in Florida. Like, they didn't take me off the voter rolls because I moved like 3 years ago, and I get texts every day, a few texts every day, and God knows how many phone calls I don't answer, but like, it said, have you voted yet? Can we talk to you about voting blue? Constantly. And, and the best part, shuts them down every time I just say, can you tell me about your foreign policy? And they have nothing to say. Nothing at all.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. At least you're getting human beings. I get more of just the bot level. Like,
I'm not even getting bots. I have not gotten one text, not one phone
difference.
call.
You're registered in Maryland and nowhere else, probably, right? Like,
yeah, no,
I'm registered in Maryland and I'm registered libertarian, and I still get shit.
Really?
I get nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. And I did get a weird phone call the other day. They called me like 3 times in a row, and you pick it up, and it's a robot. It says, "This is a test call. Please remember to wear a mask at all times to stop the spread." And that's it. It hangs up. I'm like, that's fucking weird. All right, cool.
Well, so these messages that I've gotten, I don't know if maybe Google isn't on board with all this, because they've been like my Android phone will automatically flag stuff as spam, and then like. If I look back, I can look through all my spam stuff, but all these messages have been going to spam. I didn't even realize it till the other day when I checked, and there were like 5 or 6, like, "Oh, are you interested in voting for Biden?" type messages in this like spam box. Yeah, so Google's looking out for me, I guess.
I wonder if iPhone has that too. That's what I'm starting to think.
Maybe
because I haven't gotten one, and that's weird. I usually get I would expect to get a shitload, but I
would expect your iPhone, like you wake up on election day and you're like your watch is beeping, your phone's going off, and it like the GPS is already loaded with the directions to the polling place. And it's already like everything's like, like it's
your car starts talking to you like.
But I don't want to vote.
Everyone's Tesla just takes them straight there. They switch on the automation.
Well, you see, like the authoritarians, they desperately want people to vote so much where they're like, they even float the ideas of mandatory voting.
They love the idea. Well, because it legitimizes their mob rule in their eyes, right? Like, because their whole concept is like, this is the will of the people. So every time one of the people says "fuck you," right? Like, I don't want to play, right? They don't know their thing is weaker.
I mean, that's how we judge like North Korean elections and stuff like that. We look at like, is it 99.99% mandatory participation or 99.97? Are people trying to opt out and like choose the gulag over jail? And
well, the U.S. has shown some good numbers that seem to go up every cycle of people that decide to vote for nobody.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking hopefully this year it'll be higher than ever of people that are voting for nobody. How few votes? Like, what if like 10% of the U.S. population voted for the winning candidate?
I think they said like
when you do the math,
consider that like a legitimate.
Was it like 15% or something like that? They said.
Yeah.
But at what point would believers start to say, I don't know if that's a legitimate right to rule anymore? If it became the interest so low that even the believers are like, God, like nobody's doing this. Do we still have a right to enslave them? Like,
I think you're giving them a lot of credit there.
Yeah, there is no bottom there. You're right.
Right. And I think that there's also a lot of vote shaming in a sense. I hate using that word, but it's the only thing you come to when people are like, you're voting third party. You're voting for the other candidate. If you vote for third party, it's like, what? Like,
if you're not voting.
Too. Yeah, exactly. Or that too. Because I look at it the same thing. I don't begrudge people for not voting at all. And I think it's you're fucking pretty much like a sociopath if you sit there and say, well, then you have no right to complain if you didn't vote. I'm like, fuck you. Give someone a reason to vote. Like, instead of like, oh, it's just cringy statist propaganda.
At least come up with some kind of new thing to keep repeating. I mean,
it's the same, it's the same all the time too. Every single person has the same NPC response. You know what I mean?
It's exactly what it is. It's the NPC program response.
Like, oh, you must be privileged to not have to vote.
Right. Yeah. God damn. It's so predictable. Like you said, it's the same thing, same arguments. I even
saw on a brewery, the Alchemist brewery in Vermont, on their Facebook page, the campaign was "Don't be a douchebag, vote." Like, calling you a douchebag if you don't want to vote. I'm like, what? Like, how do you get that mixed up? Like, you know what? Now, I actually don't want to pick one of these like pedo, like looter bastards to rule over my neighbors and me, and that makes me a douchebag. Okay, Alchemist.
That's like the one like electoral reform. I mean, there's plenty of other ones that are probably better, but the one that the first one on the list, if I could just change the way voting is every vote should have a none of the above, just so you like, and it should trigger. And if everyone votes none of the above, it just triggers a new election. And those two are like they can't run in the next primary. You're just out. If you're like, I would.
So you're basically actively voting against the candidates. You're not just not voting for them.
Put the none of the above on the tax form.
Yeah.
So if you're not interested, right? Like,
right, that would be fucking awesome.
If you're interested in that little game they want to do with taxes and voting and all that kind of stuff, then they can play that little game over there. But may I opt out, please?
No.
There's no opting out. Even if you want to renounce your citizenship, you have to pay us or die. What happens if you don't pay that? Like, that's what I don't know. Like, what happens if you don't pay that?
Was that the whole thing with like the businesses that were moving offshore?
No, just in general. Like, if you were to renounce, I want to go live in Germany, I renounce my citizenship. They're like, okay, pay me several $1,000s.
And
what happens if I don't pay it?
America's one of the only countries that does that too. We're the only one that, like, you're still on the hook for income tax no matter where you live. We're coming, like, that's what didn't what's his face just get arrested again? McAfee. Like, unless you go to the do the right paperwork to say I'm not a citizen anymore, and like it's a few $100s at least.
I thought it was like at least $2,000.
But maybe, yeah, it's up there.
Well, how did plantations used to exchange slaves? I mean, what are the rules that this is based on? Like you can't just like go to some other plantation when you're a slave. Some deal has to be made by your masters, right?
I mean, isn't that where passports kind of came from too? Is like privilege to leave your little feudal serfdom area.
Exactly.
Right.
Like are you allowed to be?
They would. Obviously, why would they stay here and let me tyrannically rule over them if they could just leave?
Yeah. And it's fucking weird. It's like, what do you do afterwards? Like, how do they come find you if you're living in another country? So it's like, would they extradite you from another country? Like, sorry, we can't grant you citizenship, and you have to leave because you didn't pay your taxes on your other.
You should keep a card in your wallet that has all the countries without an extradition treaty, like listed.
It's all go to Ecuador.
Like, I think like Croatia might be one of those. There's a couple good ones out there. Maybe who knows? Libya,
Libya,
Yemen. I don't know.
Shit. But going back to what we were saying before, about like all these Biden, it's mostly Biden. There's like a Biden campaign ads where, like, I was just telling you guys before we started recording about, I was watching the football today, and right on the screen was this. I just heard you because you hear Sam Elliott's voice. Like, it's so distinguishable. Like, you just notice it. I look up from like wherever I was sitting. I was just like, what? And I see Biden on the screen. I'm like, oh, he's endorsing Biden. And it's just another generic, stupid ad talking about, like, it's America. Let's vote for America. And everyone's coming out of the woodwork now to endorse Biden right now. The final push.
Like, even like Scientific American, didn't they? Like,
yep.
like
first time.
Like
first time.
Like,
they endorsed the president.
like shut up and publish articles on physics. You know, like what the hell?
Yeah.
But and it's all in one direction too. I mean, people. This is really weird because it's all for Biden. And I just saw like Foo Fighters are like headlining some type of concert benefiting Biden, and like I said, Sam Elliott, and then so Chelsea Handler. Because I don't know, did you guys hear about 50 Cent? How he said he's voting for Trump?
Oh
you guys hear that?
Somebody accused.
Was that real? Was that real? That screenshot?
Yes, it was real. He said so to everyone
like, I don't care if he hates black people. I'm still voting for him.
Yeah, he said I don't want to be. He's like 62%. He's like I don't want to be 20 cent. I want to be 50 cent. You know, or something along those lines.
Oh yeah, he was making fun of the tax rate or something.
Yeah, and so Chelsea Handler came out and said, because apparently they used to like hook up or whatever, and she came out. She said I had to call him and talk to him and remind him he was a black man and could not vote for Trump. That's what she said.
Wow.
Those words. She said those words, and she said it so confidently, like, what? Like, what the fuck?
Was there backlash on her on that?
And she's some kind of Hollywood celebrity, or I don't know who she is.
Yeah, she's a comedian. She's like Chelsea Handler. Yeah. She's
whatever.
Oh, yeah. She's pretty gross. And the fact that like she just, how could you say that about another human being? Like,
do you think this
this
was like a spontaneous gaffe, or was this inserted by the script writers in the narrative in the we need something to polarize our somethings? And I don't know.
I think this was her she just gaffed, like just said something like off the cut because she was like pissed about it. And then she started saying she was like she would fuck people if they voted for Biden. And she made some type of hint.
Someone like that has a national microphone. I mean,
right. And they're all promoting Biden, and it's like all the people like. And she's coming forward. She said she was like, oh yeah, I would fuck 50 Cent again if he changed his mind or something like that. It's just that whole like mentality.
Don't forget Cardi B. They deployed Cardi B. I mean, like it's like they're playing all the assets. They're getting all the agents working out there. It's like the final press. It's like no matter what like bullshit level celebrity you are, or up and down the food chain. Like I don't know. Has Bruce Springsteen like come out yet, or like?
No, I'm sure he has, man. There's no, and then so of course
I saw Samuel Jackson pushing for Biden on TV.
Oh no!
Yeah, like
they all were, man. It's and you think about like this in our little spheres. Bill Weld made a post saying, "I voted. It was either between America, or Trump, and I chose America, and I voted for Joe Biden." That was Bill Weld, Libertarian for life. Yeah. That loser.
Well, if Bill Weld thinks it's great, it must be awesome. For America.
And to think he was the guy that they were trying to push to run in 2020 to be for the LP presidential.
Well, you know, that dude, I mean, he's like, oh, I got another shot at an ambassadorship. Oh, dear God. Let me see if I can suck some Joe Biden cock. He's like, remember how I threw away everything for Hillary? I'll do it for you too, Joe.
Right. He's a fucking Democrat. He's and that's funny because I keep mentioning this to people because like in Maryland, I mean, all the Republicans in Maryland are essentially just Democrats. Like they all don't like Trump. Like Michael Steele came out. He was the former lieutenant governor. He was also the chair of the Republican Party. And he came out and said he was voting for Biden. And Larry Hogan, who's our governor, he's Republican. He said he voted for Ronald Reagan. He said he didn't vote for Trump. He wrote in.
Yeah,
Ronald
what a
Reagan.
fucking idiot, dude! He's gonna vote for Ronald Reagan. What a retard.
Well, he's trying to run. I mean, that's all. To me, it looks like he's just trying to run. He's like gonna bank off of his popularity.
He's trying to run in what 2024?
Yeah, again, yeah, for the Republican nomination.
Definitely, no doubt.
And so he can go back and say, "Oh, hey, look, I was never a fan of Trump. I never voted for Trump. I never campaigned for Trump. I told him not to come here and campaign for me." But
he also didn't vote for Biden.
Exactly.
So he doesn't.
That's all. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
In the
and he voted for Reagan, who's like the Republican fucking like Jesus.
Right.
That isn't
but it was a cop out. It was a nice way to cop out, so he played both sides, so he could say, "Hey, Democrats, look, I have no backbone, and I didn't vote for Trump." And then you can tell like people as conservatives, like, "See, guys, I voted for Reagan because I think Reagan's conservative." Blah blah blah. He's just spineless. He's spineless.
As if any vote in Maryland counts for anything, really.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
When it comes to presidential, dude, that ship has sailed like 150 years ago.
Yeah.
I can't think of the last time they voted for. Seriously, it had to have been the early 1900s. The last time Maryland voted for a Republican president.
I think actually maybe Reagan. Believe it or not, I was looking that up once.
Dude, I would be shocked if it went to anyone other than a Democrat. I could be wrong though, but it's crazy, man. It's like you said, it's the full court press. Everyone's now coming out the final push, and each side is so scared. They're like, it's just this election just does this fucking status voodoo over people where they just get so caught up in it. And it's like my life depends on it.
Can we just move on to the lawsuit stage of this election? Because that's where the fun's going to be.
Let's see. And the last time was actually 1988.
So it was.
Yeah.
Okay, it was Reagan.
Yeah. Bush.
Wow.
No,
Bush.
No, that would have been Bush.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. How many? That's insane. I had no clue. I didn't realize.
That's
it was that
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Or sorry, 8. That was 8 elections ago, not including this one. So 9 actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that just blew that
it's
away.
not probably not going to change anytime soon.
Yeah.
Oh no, definitely not. I mean, you think like people want to talk about demographics, but it's a game they play. It's like both sides, they know it. That's why no one even tries for Maryland's vote. No Republicans come here and really vote or anything really. Kim Klacik, you guys, she's trying to do it. She's not. She's gonna like lose in a landslide.
Yeah.
I thought maybe she had some momentum, but like she doesn't. You're an ex-stripper and no one cares. You're trying to run. Like I get it, but
they're not interested in female empowerment in that way.
No. You have the wrong complex. So I guess someone needs just to remind her that someone needs to, or she might need Chelsea Handler to remind her that she's black. She shouldn't be a Republican.
Yeah.
God, the mentality of these people, dude, it just fucking blows me away.
I can't wait to see what the fraud is, like this mail-in ballot, how this is going to go down.
Oh, there won't be any. What are you talking about?
I mean, imagine like all the integrity of the electoral system combined with the efficiency of the postal service. Like this is going to be just epic. I can't wait there's going to be bags of ballots found 10 years from now. Like, I mean, how easy will it be? Be like, well, we know that zip code leans to this candidate, and some douchebag will make sure that bag doesn't.
Well, they've already got people lighting these ballot boxes on fire.
And that's a legitimate form of protest. Antifa, listen. Antifa, yeah, go to work.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a trash can.
Stand back and stand by.
Yeah.
Just roll it into a Starbucks. That's why you're right. Just roll it in through a Starbucks window.
Yeah. Oh, so there's I was driving past this school, and it's closed. It's like a charter school. And I noticed one day that it had a blue camera light. You know, the ones you see in Baltimore City. People, if you don't know, Baltimore City has a blue camera. Yeah, that's to signify it has a blue flashing light, and on it is a camera. And whenever you see that, you know you're in a bad part of town. And why
did they put the blue flashing light there? Just to instill fear in all of us?
Well, I was confused. I was confused because I'm like, why am I seeing this here in the this is like Anne Arundel County. I'm like, why am I seeing one of these here? Like I didn't know. And then the next day I drove past it again, and there was a ballot box there. So now they have police cameras that are getting lent out by Baltimore City to watch these ballot boxes that are sitting there where people drop it off.
Well, this is perfect. So at least other parts of the neighborhood are safe while they focus attention on protecting the ballot boxes.
Gotta love that logic.
Yeah. Nothing more obvious to show the police
busy,
priorities.
Yeah, whatever keeps them, it gives them something to do besides kicking another door. I'm all for it.
Well, this kind of frees them up for that, because now they're like, screw, who cares? Like we can just do the real thing, the real revenue generators. You know, we can keep doing that with having an eye on this ballot box. That's all it does, man. I think that's the reverse.
Well, they had to go set it up, and somebody has to sit in an office and watch it, and somebody steals it, and then they have to put another one out.
And you can just hook it right up to your car. It has the mount on it.
Dude, somebody posted the instructions on how to hack those warning signs, like the default codes that they come with. That I thought that was pretty funny. I'd love to experiment with those. Add your own message.
It's like, just, fuck. What was the one that I saw? That someone changed it. It said something like "fuck the police" or something.
What else would you put? What else would you need to say? You know, like
there's like pigs ahead.
What was the quote that Trump kept saying? The pigs in a blanket or something like that.
Pigs in a blanket. Oh, that was he was referring to what BLM. The first time he ever heard of BLM, he said there was like he saw it on the news, and it was a protest, and the protesters are saying like pig in a blanket or something like that. They
fry him like bacon.
Fry him like
bacon. Yeah, there you go. And so he's like, "It's terrible people," and he just kept going off about it, and it's. Like, dude, can you just like do some research once? Like, can you just do like, he just, oh God, it's the fact that he can never go in depth on anything. He knows nothing really. He just has some pretty good instincts sometimes.
Other than that, exactly how to mobilize his base and trigger the opponent base, right?
Oh,
and I use the word opponent in quotes because it seems like it's all part of the same theater. Like, you know, when one side pretends to offend the other side and they pretend to be offended and then they pretend to, you know,
right. Like you saw that with the whole stand down, stand back, stand by thing when he said that the Proud Boys, as if the Proud Boys are the brown shirts Nazis coming to storm the gates of your local town or something. Like you were like, oh my God, he didn't condemn them like the way I wanted him to. He said stand by because he's a moron and didn't know the right word to say stand down. He said
Proud Boys was that like that's the guy that like put a dildo up his butt to show he wasn't to show he wasn't homophobic, supposedly, his demonstration.
Yep.
Were people convinced? They're like, well, we thought he was we thought he hated gays, but then he shoved that up his butt and now we know he's not. What?
Was this Gavin McGinnis did that?
Yeah, Gavin did that.
How does that work?
Well, he's just a clown. I mean, that's all he is. He's just a comedian.
Started as a joke.
But didn't it sort of like, you know, but I guess a lot of joke things
that's
turn
commitment
into something
to a joke.
Like Scientology, right? Or
yeah, I mean,
who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, but not much really came out of that debate at all. Anything else of substance. It was, I don't know. I missed like the first part, but like I said, I caught like the back like 30, 45 minutes, something like that. And just same old shit, man. Like there was no good one-liners, no good. I mean, he did get Biden a few times. He'd be like, Joe, you were in office for 8 years, like just like 3.5 years ago. You were also in government for 47 before that. Your legacy is the crime bill. Why didn't you do that then? Why didn't you do that then? And it was like he kept on
speaking of the crime bill, did you see the thing where he let someone out of jail or something, and then like as like a Twitter post or whatever, he put like the picture of the person like celebrating that they got out of jail, and then said this person was in jail because of Joe Biden's 1994 crime bill. We have released him. Blah blah blah. Which I was like, hey, if you're going to use that as a political football, I'm all for it. Yeah, just let everybody out of jail that's in there because of that shit. He
should have. I mean, it was just like, did he not invite them to the debate? Like, he should have had them sitting there front and center, like the way he trolled them with Bill Clinton's like rape accusers. Brought them all to the debate. He should have had like everyone he's granted clemency to, or if he really wanted to knock it out of the park, he could have had them all sitting in the front row. Everyone that he's let out of jail. If
do you guys remember that there's this video of like, it's from like a 1980s British show where like they had this guy, he helped free a bunch of like Jewish children in Nazi Germany. And what he didn't know that the whole crowd around him were all the children that he saved. I think it'd be fucking hilarious if they did the inverse where they had Joe sit in a crowd full of people that he put to jail in the 1994 crime bill. And they're like,
or the kids whose dad died in jail because of him. Or,
yeah.
That would have been priceless.
Well,
but isn't it a little awkward for Trump to accuse Biden of being too pro-police, right? Like, because that's his angle. I'm pro-police. So he can't throw that around and be like, no, he's more pro-police. Somehow he'd have to say like, I'm pro-police and he's the wrong kind of pro-police or something.
That's what he's saying. That's what he's saying. Yeah.
Like he frames the crime bill as being racist, which, you know, it kind of is. But, you know, he's like, well, I'm going to have the non-racist kind of, police authoritarianism. Like, we're going to have the good kinds.
We're going to make sure that they're beating the crap out of white hobos as well as black ones. You know.
Right. Yep. So speaking of racist, what we
Mises
what did you?
Caucus? What?
No,
What were you
Very
talk
funny.
about?
Okay, Elizabeth.
Yeah, Elizabeth. Yeah, right. So what? You seem to have the skinny on this, James.
No,
What did you hear?
I just heard something about someone accused Ron Paul of attracting racists into the liberty movement. Is that the accusation?
Yeah, Elizabeth Nolan Brown. She works at Reason.
First of all, it starts with the collectivist mindset that there's a liberty movement that you're part of, or you're not part of, or you're, like somehow you're responsible for what these other people are doing because you're in the same, I don't know, like the same collective, right? A collective mindset. Like maybe some racists do like Ron Paul. I don't know. Who knows? So it's not Ron Paul's fault.
Yeah, exactly. And there's also David Duke endorsed Biden, but you don't hear that anywhere. He's never has to condemn that, So it works both ways. Or no, sorry, it was Richard Spencer. Richard Spencer endorsed. I believe it was Richard Spencer endorsed Joe Biden a few months ago.
I made a lot of friends during the Ron Paul revolution, and I have to say they were some fantastic people, and they, doesn't fit the bill at all. And I'm really grateful for all of those connections that I made during that period. Some of the most amazing, high quality people in my life today still. So it really doesn't hold any water, that accusation. I mean, to say that Ron's bringing in racists and she's trying to undo the damage or something, like, look at all the damage he did, or.
Yeah. And it's like the high and mighty thing. And I think what people are, they know it's getting a reaction out of the Ron Paul people in the LP movement and the Liberty movement and in the LP.
Ignore.
That's I honestly think this is what I'm coming to that conclusion. Like, there's just a lot of bad actors who just want to say stuff to rile people up. And then of course, Nicholas Sarwark decided to join in as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I blocked him ages ago. I just like
that's
he craves the attention so badly, and it's so obvious that's what he's in for, that I'm just
if we need to muddy the libertarian position, bring in Nick Sarwark.
It's like he's not even chair anymore. He wanted to get in the attention of it because
what did he say? Something very just like
he
obtuse and hard to pin him down on.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So he said, and it's this very vague book post. He said, has anyone know of any, besides himself, has there been any other libertarian that he has nominated if it was running for office or endorsed who was running for office? And literally 6 minutes into the post, someone responded. They're like, he actually endorsed Murray Sabrin, who was running for as a libertarian in New Jersey in 2018. And so then he edited his post. He said, other than Murray Sabrin, does anyone know?
I was wondering why that was so oddly specific. I saw that.
He edited it, to put that in. So he's just trying to capitalize. And I'm like, well, what's the point? Like, what's the point? Because you're mad because he won't do that with Joe Jorgensen? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, you're mad he didn't endorse Bob Barr still. That's what it is. Remember that? Because that was the height of the Ron Paul revolution. Like, Ron Paul revolution was huge. Like, they had way more attention than the LP was getting at the time. And some people were really butthurt about the attention Ron was getting when we're the libertarians over here, like they couldn't. And then when but yet we all knew that the Republican Party was going to discard Ron Paul because he was too libertarian for them. Right? It's like, all right, let's see how far he can get. This is fun. Let's see how he goes. The LP was perfect position to pick up the torch, right, and run right with a hardcore libertarian, like capture that energy of the Ron Paul revolution, and they dump out Bob Barr, like the federal, like the prosecutor, the CIA guy that voted for the Patriot Act, voted for Iraq War, voted for TSA, voted whoa.
Right.
and then they're sour grapes because, well, why aren't you paying attention to our candidates? Well, because your candidates suck sometimes. I mean, sorry.
Well, it is, and it really is, and they need to own that, because they were so butthurt that Ron Paul didn't endorse, or that Ron Paul chose to become a Republican. There's still, and to this day, there's people in the party that they're so mad at Ron, even though they agree with him 100% on everything. They're just so mad that he was a Republican and he hasn't been more invested in the Libertarian Party.
because they're more interested in the tribe than in the message, right? Like,
yeah.
And that's what's bullshit, because there's a lot of, they have to own the fact that so many people in the libertarian movement kind of burn bridges with the LP because of that Bob Barr pick, because they endorsed Bob Barr and they put a guy up like him up, a terrible libertarian. And then they did a little bit better when they picked Gary Johnson. But then in 2016, they brought in Bill Weld. Not that much, but then they bring in Bill Weld, like that guy. Like, what the fuck? You know, I just,
don't forget Jim Gray.
I was literally about to say, like, the parade of tools they tried to like cart before us and put up for the libertarian nomination this year was absurd. And then you say they have this obsessive attachment to hating on like Ron Paul for having been a Republican, but like they would have, if they could have gotten the Amash. I know Reason, I kept calling him out for it. Like, Reason wrote like 12, at least a dozen articles about how great Amash is in the year leading up to this election, and they were all over him. And I listened to the Reason Roundtable, and they're fangirl over Amash so hard. And he's okay. He's not he probably has the good basis, but like they wanted him to, and he was like, no. He had, I think he'll still do it eventually, but they don't mind him.
Well, is he out of the Congress now, or what's his?
No, he's still in as a libertarian. The thing
he'll be out on his ear soon after the election.
He was good as a Republican, but he was bad as a libertarian. Like, I just felt like he just didn't meet your standards that you have for, like, he joined the LP. But he waited a year. He announced in July of 2018, he was leaving the Republican Party. So everyone assumed that he was just going to become a libertarian. Well, he said, no, I'm going to sit out as an independent. And he sat out for an independent for a year before he decided. He changed his registration to libertarian and launched his exploratory committee to see if he could win have a chance of the presidential nominee like a month before the election. I think it was before it was. And so he got so much backlash, even from people that really like him, because they were like, hey, look, like, you can't just show up like last second. We kind of did this before, and so he didn't get the praise that he liked. So he kind of backed out. And, he's a Cato guy. He's he's like a typical Beltway libertarian, really. So he's compared to the rest, he's better, but just not that much,
Can you just imagine the parallel universe where Vermin Supreme is the candidate? It'd be so much more fun.
It would be.
At this point, that would have been the better, like, Jorgen. I don't think she gets so much flack. I think she's better than the amount of crap she gets. She's not perfect, but like, it would have been so much better this year in particular to have Vermin. I think
it's 2020. You got to go. It's like everything's over the top. Everything is like, if you're still this like kind of like meek and let's compromise, or let's not be too crazy. You're not even gonna get heard amongst the chaos of 2020.
And not only that, but like, people are worried about like the LP looking a certain way because if we nominated Vermin, you know what I mean? But like, honestly, you're not changing anyone's mind by, if you had like, let's say Amash, right? If you just had another Republican retread for like the 5th straight time, like some washed up Republican who's lost their seat, and then you run them, like, you're just further enhancing the perception is just where like Republicans go to die,
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I'm like, you can have radical message, something it's unavoidable. Like, they say something where you just can't. You don't have to wear a boot on your hat. You don't have to change your name to taxation of staff. You don't have to have pink hair. Like, you can just be radical. Like, Ron Paul proved that. You can be this small guy and just be radical as fuck and make everyone's heads turn.
Grandfatherly guy who likes chocolate chip cookies, right? And he just dressed down Giuliani like Giuliani was his bitch. Like, that was so good.
All right. Well, speaking of Giuliani, so you saw the new Borat movie, right? How James? What do you think? Because none of us watched it yet.
I mean, I thought it was, I laughed. You know, like it's definitely some A-level trolling going on in there. Definitely some like really cringy, hilarious moments. If you love the first one, I'm sure you love this one. So, yeah.
Because I heard that the controversy everyone saw, which was oddly timed, if you believe the conspiracy about it, it was deliberately set out. They right after Giuliani had the Hunter Biden laptop, where he's getting a tow job from a Chinese agent from while smoking crack. So Giuliani had this thing, had it and leaked it or whatever. And then immediately afterwards, like, they come forward with this screenshots of the trailer or of like a part of the movie where Giuliani is in the room with who he believes is like an older woman, because she's an actress, she's like 24, but it's supposed to be Borat's daughter. And so he comes like running into the room as Giuliani's laying on the bed with his hand down his pants from the way the picture looks. And he runs in the room with like a thong on saying, she's 15, she's too old for you. Yeah.
I don't think I really didn't see much in there that you could convict Giuliani for. He was probably just like duped into being in the middle of this fun skit, like it was pretty funny.
Yeah, like an idiot. And it's just, how do you, like, I don't know. I just, like, you're so stupid if you fall for this. After seeing Borat and Bruno, like how could you fall for that?
Well, when you're a guy like Giuliani or whatever, you're used to having your ego stroked, and so when she's like, "Oh, we really want," she had this accent. She's like, "We really want him to," would really want him the interview or whatever. I'm sure it flattered his ego or whatever, and you can get interviews that way. Anything that like strokes their ego, they'll probably go along with.
And sometimes their dick.
It's telling that Ron Paul actually managed to walk. He walked out of a Borat prank, didn't he? When it was on the TV show.
He's like, that guy's queerer than sin. Or something like that. It was funny. It's like he snapped up. He was like, he leaned. That's the only thing I remember from it. And what was that? That was like 2007. That movie came out. 2006, I think.
I think it was. I think that wasn't in the movie. Was it in the movie? Or
no, it was in the movie.
It was in the movie. Yeah.
Well, is Borat getting any flack for the anti-Semitic like jokes, which are like rarely people get away? Like it's pretty.
Like the running of the Jew, the running of the Jew from the first one.
It's a continual theme throughout the movie. It's like it's so funny. It's kind of like the anti-Semitism is the joke. It's not really anti-Semitism, but it's like. Know the face, like a Facebook bot censor would flag this shit like crazy.
Yeah. Well, he is Jewish. He is Jewish, though.
Is that how it does that? So he gets a pass that way, I guess.
I mean, that's how I get a pass, right?
I don't know.
Well, you get a pass because it works. You get a pass because you have all those shekels. You can bribe people.
Right.
That's how you get a pass. But no, so it's funny you mentioned that because he was demanding that people like hate speech get censored. I forget, a few months ago, maybe a year ago, he was advocating for it, and then he made a post saying about like something against the people who are against the lockdowns and stuff. And he had the picture, the article he had that he posted was a picture of a guy saying COVID is fake. So the algorithms took down all of his posts, and so then he went to Twitter complaining, saying, "I wanted you to to ban the, hate speech, not me," type of thing. And it's just so funny. He got caught up in that. Like, yeah, well, that's what you get.
You try to manipulate the bot, you will be deleted yourself.
Right. So bots would take him down for that. It's just at the same time, though, he said like all the people that he trolled and this were Republicans, and it was a point to do that. He made it a point.
Life comes at you fast, though.
Right. It does, man. I'll probably end up watching it sometime. I haven't had the chance because it only dropped like a few days ago, like maybe like 2 days ago or something like that.
It's pretty.
I think so. It's on Amazon Prime.
Yeah. It's freaking weird. But speaking of comedians, I didn't tell you guys, but I saw Louis C.K. the other night.
Oh yeah, I saw that you posted that on Facebook. How was it?
He came to Magoobies in Timonium.
Damn, that's awesome.
It was so fucking funny. He was talking about the lockdowns, and he I hate when people tell other people's jokes, but it was just funny because he was just mentioning, it was like, so yeah, you guys are living how are you liking this lockdown? He's like, so now you know what it's been like for me the past 2 years. And it was great, man. It was awesome. I'm so glad that guys like that, even though politically I'm sure he's on the left, but he got canceled through all that, which seemed kind of like bullshit looking back on it. He just kind of got swept away in it, and it was awesome to go out and see that. go out and he's thinking about like he was like selling out like these big hockey stadiums, like hockey and basketball arenas and stuff like that.
Right.
And he comes to little Magooby's Joke House.
That's crazy, man. I wish I would have known about that.
I
did that.
Don't shame him for it.
Right. And they didn't advertise at all for it. It
really?
was, if you signed up for their emails, they sent out an email like every month. They sent like, he's
shit.
coming.
I get those emails too. I just must have missed it.
My brother saw it and immediately was like, I'm buying 7 tickets, and he bought like 7 tickets, and it was sold out within the day.
Oh Jesus, yeah.
Yeah, they did 2 shows, but it was fucking cool, man. Like he's still funny as shit.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Cool to get to see him in a small club too.
Yeah, because I've seen Jim Norton there. I've seen Pauly Shore there.
Wow.
And those are pretty good. But I love that. I love that venue. It's like the only. I don't know. Apparently, there's other places where people.
That's where Alex and I saw Tell.
Yeah, he's coming back in March of next year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have to go do that again.
Yeah, I want to see David Tell.
Oh yeah, dude, that was the funniest shit I've ever seen.
It was pretty rocking, man.
Yeah. All right, you want to kick this over to the after hours?
Yeah, we got a few things to talk about. So yeah, let's roll it over the after hours.
We haven't even talked about the Joe Biden situation.
Yeah, we can talk a little more about the
senator's son.
Yeah, vice presidential son. Get that right. Put some respect on that name, vice president.
Respect.
Isn't there a thing about not having titles of nobility in the Constitution? And now they carry their title forever. Senator Biden from now to eternity.
Yep.
The only title of nobility that we actually
Mr. Vice President. Right.
Yeah.
Joe at best. Asshole probably.
Creepy Joe.
Yeah.
Creepy Sleepy Joe. Cool. Well, I just want to remind everybody that we do the After Hours program. If you guys go to our Patreon, sign up for as little as $1 a month, you guys get to hear it. We do it right after this podcast. If you also don't like using Patreon, you could use PRLfans.com, where you can there's other ways there to contribute monthly to help us out, keep the lights on in all of our basements right now. And we also have t-shirts for sale at libertariancountry.com. If you use the code PRL or PRL Podcast, you get a 10% discount. But if you want to spend over $50 or more, you use the code PRL2 and you get a 20% discount. And this podcast is also brought to you by Conversations About Freedom with Moral Bob. He just released a new episode the other day. So you guys should probably go check that out. Until next time, live free
or die.